I'm Sarah and welcome to Becklin Backyard. I just thought today I'd share some seed starting, a bit of what seeds I'm doing this year, and a little bit of my garden plan because it's the end of March and it's time to get going with that stuff. So this year my sister and I decided to go together and order a bunch of seeds from Seed Savers Exchange from a farm in Decorah, Iowa. Heritage Farm, I believe is the name. And so these are seeds people have donated, heirloom seeds to just maintain certain varieties of crops over generations and generations. And so some of these are really cool. They've been like this certain type of vegetable was introduced in like the 1840s. And so it's really cool to still have that be maintained in my own garden so many years later. And so I'll just go through quickly what we're doing. My sister's in the middle of moving, so I am going to start her seeds for her. And then when she's all moved, I'll give them to her. And so I'll go through which ones she's doing, which ones I'm doing, and then I'll go ahead and get them started. So, and then we also are sharing a few of the packets as well. So my sister has been very inspired by cut flower gardens, and so she is doing a sunflower, Irish Eyes it says, Bells of Ireland, an Evening Sun sunflower, Zinnia, Benary's Giant, I think that's how you say that, and then a Fizzy White Cosmos. She is much more of a pepper eater than I am, so she's doing a Tequila Sunrise pepper and asparagus. And then as far as, I think that's all. Yeah. As far as the ones we're sharing, we're gonna share some carrot seeds. There's so many come in those. She'll take most of these jalapenos. I think I'll do like maybe one jalapeno plant. And then we're gonna share some bell peppers, and I'll probably just take like a couple of these watermelon seeds. And then some herbs. I believe we're sharing these as well. We have rosemary, oregano, cilantro. I'm the kind of person that does not like cilantro, but there's certain things that I want to use it for cooking, like guacamole or salsa or whatever. So I'll probably just take a little bit of that. Thyme and basil. I feel like I use the rest of those pretty often, so it'll be nice to have herbs. And then for the ones I'm just doing, I'm focusing more on vegetables. My sister's focusing a little more on flowers. And so these are peas, and these were ones that this variety was introduced in the 1840s, I said, which is really cool. And so these are like for shelling and eating, and that's more of the kind of pea my family would eat. We have this lettuce. I thought it was just precious. It said Grandma Hadley's lettuce, and it was donated to the Seed Savers Exchange in 1988. And I just think it's precious that the family loved her lettuce so much that they like donated it. So I'll be excited to see if that turns out. And then kale. I'm not a huge kale eater, but I'll mix it with like other greens in a salad, or I'll cook with it. But I'm definitely not like a full-on kale salad person. No thanks. And then broccoli. I intend to grow quite a bit of broccoli for freezing because we use a lot of frozen broccoli in our house, and I thought it would be nice to grow it and freeze it here because that shouldn't be too difficult. Who knows? Green beans. My husband despises green beans, but I love them, and so at least if I grow them, I can eat them, and I can control how many plants of them I grow, freeze them. I'd love to try canning this year, so maybe this would be one I would try to can. And speaking of canning, the next is a pickling cucumber, and this one was cool. This one was introduced in 1928, so it's been nearly 100 years that this variety's been introduced, and so I would love, our whole family loves pickles, so I would definitely want to try pickling these. My mom and I pickled probably like 6 years ago, and I definitely want to try it again. And I have some dill that didn't come from this because I forgot about it, but so I just bought that at like a hardware store, so we'll see how that one turns out. And then an Amish paste tomato. I'm also not a huge tomato eater, just like uncooked tomatoes, but I'll eat it in sauces. And so I think as far as attempting canning this year, I would love to try to can some sauces. And then just a smaller tomato because I like these in salads or on focaccia, things like that. I'll eat smaller tomatoes like this. And then for my zone, I don't know if I believe this, but you can do like a winter, a more cold hardy lettuce. So I'm I'm gonna try later in the season to plant this winter density lettuce and see if that gives us fresh lettuce a little bit farther into the season. Okay, so I think I'm gonna get my sister's going first, because if I run out of time, I at least want to have hers done for her, because I have a little more flexibility to get mine done since I'm at my own house. And so she requested these, just these hexagon cells. I got them at Home Depot, I think. So we'll get hers going here. I would definitely consider myself very much a beginner when it comes to gardening. I had one garden. Oh, let me get scissors. Okay. I had one garden in college, and that was like, it was like a summer I didn't go home during college. I stayed in my college's town, and I just was like working part-time, and I wanted something to do, and so I was like, you know what, I'll start a garden. And I think I just probably went to some hardware store and bought a bunch of random seeds, and I had no idea what I was doing. Like, it was like mid-June when I just sowed everything directly into the ground, and I'm not even saying I know what I'm doing right now. I literally have no idea what I'm doing right now. But yeah, and that summer I just sowed everything directly into the ground. Like, didn't really consider much spacing or like how many rows of things I should have. And like, I remember I grew corn. I think I probably grew like, there's like 2 rows of corn, which like is like the number 1 rule of corn, is you need like, I honestly don't know the number. I think it's like you need like 6 rows of corn. So that didn't really amount to anything, but that was fun. It like grew tall. It just didn't really make corn, but the plants grew tall. And I remember that summer I grew cucumbers, and those actually went crazy because those are, from what I've heard, pretty foolproof to get a lot of cucumbers. And so that's why Mom and I pickled them, because my mom lived on a farm for a bit growing up, and they did a lot of canning. And so I remember she came down to visit me, and she and my roommate and I, we bought a bunch of dill, and then we pickled these cucumbers with like an old family recipe we had. So I'll have to get a hold of that recipe before I attempt pickling this year. And I just have been, I just feel like, I don't know if it's like a New Year's resolution or what it is, conviction, I have no idea, but I just have been feeling more like I want to do things a little more just like homegrown, homemade. And I do a lot, like the majority of our cooking is homemade, but I just love the idea of like growing food for my family to enjoy, and just like working with my hands outside, and it's like a good use of time. Like right now I could have been just like staring at a screen or scrolling on my phone or whatever, but I get to like work with my hands, and so that's fun. And so one of my goals for this year was to just do more things like at home, like to serve my family, like homemaking things. It's a lot of fun. And so I've been like watching a lot of videos on gardening and reading books, and so hopefully this works out. Okay, I literally have no idea how much my sister wants. We'll see. Okay, there's these arrows going. Don't know what that means. What the heck? Okay. Fill cells. Add 2 to 3 seeds per cell, following seed packet directions. Add dome, place in warm sunlight. Okay. Still don't know what those arrows on here are for. I'll feel dumb if the arrows mean something, but let's start. Okay, so she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and she said maybe do a tray for flowers, a tray for vegetables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's start with a row of flowers, I think. So this is the Fizzy White Cosmos, and this says, Sow seeds outdoors. Okay, then I'm not gonna. Sow seeds outdoors. I might need to call my sister. Sow seeds outdoors. Sow seeds indoors. Okay. Bells of Ireland. Want me to sow them indoors? Sunflower outdoors. Okay. Let's start with this. This is blocking it, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna probably put a pause on these ones that say sow outdoors because she's moving to her new place probably in June. So if anything, I'd probably start these later. If I'm gonna start them indoors, it's the ones that say outdoors. I'll probably start them later because they probably get insane inside in 60 days. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna do this, but I am gonna start this one. So this is the Bells of Ireland, and it says, sow seeds indoors just beneath the surface of soil. Transplant when light frost is still possible. Okay. Prefers average soil, may require staking. Okay, and these are, okay, I think this 6 to 8 weeks before last frost. In our last frost, we're in Iowa, so we're in zone 5, and our last frost should be like mid-ish May. So this is like perfect timing. So I think, let's see how many we got. There's quite a few. Maybe I'll do like 2 rows of these for her. And then she can save the rest. Okay, Bells of Ireland, first up. And then I'll label those, and then I'll just go on with her vegetables in this one. And she and I will chat about that later. So in addition to me starting a garden this year, I feel like 3 in each. I clearly have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, I'll do 3 in each. And we also got chicks this year. I've always loved the idea of raising animals. And we live in a small town in Iowa, but they still have rules on what you can and can't have. Because we live like in town in the small town. And so, but you are allowed to have chickens. And we picked them up last Wednesday, so that was a week ago now. And we just got them at a feed store because we've only lived in Iowa about a year. We lived in this town for about 3 months. So we don't have like connections to anybody that has chickens and is willing to sell us their chicks. Maybe one day we'll have that kind of connection. But we just knew the feed store would sell them. And so we decided to go there. So we have 2 little boys. I took our boys there last week. We picked out the chicks. We got 4 Rhode Island Reds. And we chose Rhode Island Reds because, well, we live in Iowa, so I'd heard they were pretty cold hardy. They can withstand the cold fairly well. Should I do 1 or 2 rows of this? Maybe I'll do 2. There's so many seeds. Okay, I'll do 2. So they're pretty cold hardy, so we're like, okay, hopefully they'll be able to withstand this weather. And I mean, if they sell them in Iowa, like they wouldn't sell them in Iowa because they couldn't live in Iowa. That's my theory anyway. And then we also, my son who's 2, I asked him, do you want white eggs or brown eggs? And he said brown eggs. So that kind of started my search because I just looked up what chickens make brown eggs. And I think, I mean, a misconception people have is that they think like if an egg is brown, it's healthier, and it's really just the color of the chicken's earlobes makes the egg color what it is. And so if you've been going to the store and paying twice as much for brown eggs because someone told you they're healthier, they're not healthier. You can buy white eggs and it's the same. And so he wanted brown eggs, and I was like, all right, that's fun. And so we did Rhode Island Reds, and I also had read that they are generally friendly to kids and dogs. And since we have 2 little kids and a dog, that kind of checked all the boxes. It survived in cold, good with kids and dogs. My son wanted brown eggs, and so we decided that. And I think I saw they're also just like friendly towards people in general. And so far, they've been a lot of fun to have. They are growing crazy. Okay, I need to label these before I completely lose track of what I'm doing. I'm just gonna cut some of this cardboard and label it. Okay, this was Bells of Ireland. Okay. Let me get the cover off before things get too precarious. I should have done this to begin with. I feel like extra pressure because this is for somebody else. Like if I screw up my own thing, who cares? It's for my sister, and I'll mess it up. Okay. Nope. It's all right in there. Okay, I'll just put that right here. I told myself I would do this in the garage so that when I make a mess, but I have such a big work surface here. Whatever. Okay, let's do some of her vegetables because I'm questioning the flowers. Okay, let's do her asparagus next. This says, may take up to 2 months to germinate. Okay, these literally came earlier this week, so I could not have done this any sooner. There was just like such a high demand from this farm that there was a slight delay on getting them. May take 2 months to germinate. Okay, we're going for it anyway. Time the planting to be ready to transplant the shoots 10 to 12 weeks later. Plant in early spring after all danger of frost has passed. We're gonna hope for the best here. All right. There's not that many seeds. I think we can like maybe do a row. Maybe I'll do like 2 seeds in each row. Oh, I literally have never seen an asparagus seed. It's like tiny and black. When plants are started from seeds, expect about 10 stalks per plant. To be honest, I couldn't even tell you what asparagus looks like in the ground. I have a friend who told me that growing up, they would just get their asparagus from the ditch. This is like in rural Iowa. Never in my life would I have thought that's where asparagus grows. Just in a ditch, wild and free. Never in my life. I still haven't seen it, and I live in rural Iowa. Maybe I have to start actually paying attention to things. Okay, I'm doing 2 in each, and then maybe I'll go back if there's like a couple extra. I need my sister to send me what these look like when they start growing. I mean, I guess I could Google it too, but that's fine. After doing 2 down the whole thing, I've got like 5 more, so I'm just gonna giraffe 1 more in the first field. Okay, and then let's cut the label. Recycling the box. Asparagus. Okay, if these all grow though, wouldn't this be like just an insane amount of asparagus? Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Oh no. Sorry. This is why I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, asparagus done. Okay, I fully doubt she wants this many tequila summers. Maybe I'll do like half of just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do 6 of them. Well, now I'm regretting doing 12 asparagus. That's so insane. Okay, we'll do 6 tequila sunrise peppers. Sow seeds indoors, 1/4 inch deep. Start indoors 8 weeks before last frost. That's kind of where we're at. I don't know. I think we're like 7 or 6. Okay, let's do 3 in each and save the rest. And then I can check with her. Peppers are always one I feel like, why do I not save the seeds from the peppers? Like, they're very obviously right there and free. Like, is there any reason why you can't just save those and grow peppers? My dad told me he and my mom did that last year. I don't remember what kind of pepper it was. Maybe it was bell peppers. And I tried it once with those sweet peppers, like those they're like mini bell peppers, like they're not spicy. And it grew like the green plant part, but no fruit ever came off of it. Like I never got a pepper off of it. So I don't know. But I feel like why, and I was thinking about that, like eating tomatoes the other day. Like, why can't I not just save all the tomato seeds? And I suppose you can. I'm gonna put some of these back because I'm assuming it doesn't want more than 6 separate plants, but I could be wrong. Kiwa Sunrise. Put that label here, and then let's start her watermelons. I feel like they're a watermelon eating family, so let's see if I can get 6 and cover that there. Actually, no, that's dumb. Let's do all the peppers together. That's smarter. Okay. Sow seeds indoors 8 weeks before frost. Maybe I think we'll still be okay. So we're doing bullnose bell, and I think I was going to steal half of these from someone. She's definitely more of a bell pepper eater than I am, so she can have more. And these also just look like the seeds inside a bell pepper, which tells me, did I waste money buying these when I could just use bell peppers from my fridge? You never know. Well, I'm going to do 3 in each. Wait. Next, do jalapeno. I was just going to steal a few of these seeds, but I don't feel like she would want more than 6 jalapeno plants, so I'm just going to do 6. Okay, now I'm like really regretting doing 12 asparagus plants. That's like absolutely insane. Who even eats that much asparagus? Let's do carrots. Maybe I'll give her a whole row of carrots because I feel like I would want a lot of carrots. So then let's do watermelon there and then carrots left. Okay, so these watermelons say, no, I'm not going to start these. Sow seeds outdoor. Oh, they can be started indoor 4 weeks before transplanting out. Feel like let's pause, but let's label that spot. I'm just writing watermelon, not yet, so I know I haven't actually put it there yet, but I'm going to. And then let's do this whole thing as carrots. I grew carrots in that garden I had in college, but they only ever got like that big. They got like the thickness of a normal carrot, but not like the ones. Oh my gosh. Carrot seeds everywhere. Oh my goodness. And so it blows my mind, like what do you do to make them be long? Like I remember looking up, like once the orange part pops up, then you can, sorry, I'm just reading how many. Once the orange part pops up, then you can pull them out. But then why are they so short? I literally don't know. Is it like a fertilizing thing? Is it like a soil issue? Did I put some in there? Yes. I feel like I just have to pray after each one. There's like 50 stuck on her earring. Okay. I'm sure there's like 1,000 on my counter. Okay, carrots. I'll set these aside because I'm going to take some. This will go on the not yet pile. This is, I used it, but there's some in there. Maybe I should be a little more normal. Do these this way. Yeah, I'm definitely questioning why I chose to do the long way. It's like actually kind of dumb. Okay, you know what? I'm learning as I'm going. And also, it's not the end of the world. There's worse things that could happen. My sister is like definitely a cilantro person. She's told me before she would eat like a salad if the leaves were all cilantro, and that there's nothing worse on earth. Okay, this says sow seeds outside after last frost. Maybe if I read before I did stuff, this would go better. And it's gone. Sow seeds outdoors just beneath the surface of soil. Oh, sow seeds indoors. Sow seeds indoors just beneath the surface of soil. Transplant after danger of last frost. Okay, we can do this one. Greek oregano. We're gonna give her 3 because, like, I'm not sure who would need more than 3. Plants, like 3 oregano plants. Okay. Came in this tiny thing inside this. Okay. So this is Greek oregano. This species, commonly known as Greek oregano, is thought to have a cleaner and sharper taste than true oregano. An essential garden herb with a pungent flavor, this perennial bears light green, pointed, or oval leaves. Okay. I don't know. That doesn't sound bad. These seeds are so insanely tiny. As I'm doing this, there's certain plants I've literally never thought about, like, how they collect the seeds of them, like oregano. Where does the seed come from? I think I have so much to learn. Okay. Who knows if that'll do anything? And, like, I think about lettuce too. Like, where do you get the seeds from lettuce? Time. What does it say? Sow seeds indoors, transplant after frost. Okay. Alright, I feel like we're rolling. And just when I say that, something catastrophic will happen. And this basil also says sow seeds outdoors when soil is warm. I'm gonna completely forget to do all of this. Okay. This is in the save for later pile. This is all my face. Okay. Then why did I fill that entire thing with dirt? Okay. These will be my sister's trays. Let's set these aside. I'll apologize later for giving her 12 asparagus plants. Literally, I think I eat asparagus maybe once a year when someone else cooks it for me. Okay, on to my situation. Okay, so for no reason at all, I don't even know why I did. I bought this, and I'm not going to waste it. But now I'm realizing I should, and then I have another that kind of looks like this. And I should have just done that because then I can reuse it. Because these go directly into the soil. And then I can't use them again. So that seems like a little bit wasteful. Oh, and I didn't take the plastic out of that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're back in business. I'll cover those up once I water them. So yes, long story short. No, I'm not going to use that. That's like seeds in it. Okay, I'm a little bit regretting buying these, but I'm not going to waste them. So if this isn't enough, I'll use my black plastic one, but then at least that one I can reuse each year. But I've also heard things like those aren't super high quality, just the ones you buy from the normal hardware store. And so perhaps it all evens itself out. Who knows? Because this was always like, well, it just like decomposes into the ground. I'm not like using more plastic. But then it's a whole, then I have to buy more. And this has plastic in it. So I'm not really sure what's the best thing to do. Probably like a sturdier, reusable plastic one that you can use for decades is probably the best solution. So maybe I'll need to do a little bit more research into that. Okay, I was worried I would not have enough soil, but this ended up being just the right amount. And this potting soil I bought for literally no specific reason. It was just the only thing that Fleet Farm had when I was there. And since we live a little bit out of town, and out of a bigger city, I kind of try to just like, if I'm where a big store is, I just get it done when I'm there. So I didn't feel like going back. And since then, my husband picked up for me just a bag of potting soil from like, we do have an Ace Hardware in our town. So my husband picked up a potting soil there for me. And she's handed that. Okay. All right, so before I go any further, I kind of just wanted to go through my garden plan for this summer. So we live on just under 1/3 of an acre. And so we don't have a lot of room to work with. And then also we have little kids and we want to have the yard be mostly for them. So I have just a 10 by 6.5 foot bed that we've prepared for a garden for me. So I'm working more with the succession planting method where as I harvest things and I plant new things. And so I have to strategically start things. And so as I'm looking at this plan I made a few weeks ago, I'm realizing the only thing I need to start tonight for myself is probably broccoli. I'll double check. Maybe it's possible I have to start herbs, but I'm not sure. So, and then things to plant, I'm going to do potatoes this year. And so I have sweet potatoes, red potatoes, Yukon Gold potatoes. And then I also am experimenting with a few Yukon Gold potatoes that started to, I honestly don't know the word, but when they like sprout. And I'm just going to experiment to see if there's a difference between just old potatoes from my pantry and potatoes I purchased at the store. So this will be, I don't know why this is 4 feet by 10 feet. It's 10 feet by 6.5 feet. And so I think in March, I'm going to plant the potatoes, get them in the ground. And these dots honestly mean nothing. It's just like to mark that space is being taken up. And then I'm getting a shipment of a bunch of berry bushes and a nectarine tree late this month. And so it's arriving either late this month or like very early next month. So then those will go in because the company I purchased those from is Stark Brothers and they ship them to you based off your zone and when it's the proper time to plant them. And so that's strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and a nectarine tree. So those all go in ASAP. And then in April, broccoli will go in mid to late April. And this is all based off like a specific zone 5 chart I saw. And so I'm planning based off that. And then also the book Veg in One Bed, he talks about planting things in succession to make use of a small space. And the bed he talks about in that book is even smaller than this one. And so then next month I'll be starting carrots, kale, lettuce, the herbs, peas, tomatoes, peppers, spinach, and watermelon. But now looking at the back of the watermelon package, I'm doubting that. I just might direct sow it the next month. So it'll be interesting to see like this plan I made off what I saw online, how it relates to like what I actually do and how that works out. So then in May, we'll have what I'll plant is broccoli will already be in. Then I'll plant the carrots, kale, lettuce, herbs, dill, peas, spinach. And then I'll put the watermelon next to potatoes because I can kind of control how those go out of the bed. And honestly, I can predict potatoes getting completely out of control. I have this horrible habit of overcrowding a garden every time I try. And I know I'm going to do that this time. But we'll learn. So then in June is when, based off this plan, is when I'm going to be able to first harvest things, those things with like a smaller, like a shorter window. And so the X means they're ready to harvest. And this could all be a lie, who knows? But so I'll be harvesting broccoli, carrots, kale, lettuce, peas, spinach, and then planting peppers and tomatoes. And so I left a chunk in the center for the peppers and tomatoes. We'll see if that's true. I can predict myself also wanting more tomato plants and just doing those in containers. And also I'll get to compare those two methods as well. And then in July, let me flip back to this. Since these all got cleared in June, minus the herbs and the dill, which I planted. Honestly, I didn't write that down, but I planted them. Maybe I wrote it down, I don't know. So then those areas are cleared, and then I'm gonna do green beans and cucumbers in kind of like that, like kind of trellis, but it's like in a cone shape thing. So cucumbers and green beans, so those can grow a little bit vertically. And then tomatoes and peppers will keep going, and I'm gonna kind of motivate the watermelon to go outside of the bed. And then in August, there's a bunch of those vegetables that have like another round you can plant in August. So I'm putting in the winter lettuce, another round of broccoli, another round of spinach, and then peas. And then everything else is continuing. And then by September, things are continuing, harvesting cucumbers, green beans, and dill, so I can start pickling in September. Green beans for hopefully canning and some eating. Tomatoes, try some canning, and then peppers and watermelon for eating. And the rest are going to keep going. And then October is like everything's coming out, the rest of it. And then that's it. So that's the plan we have going forward. So then I suppose then tonight, all I have to start in my seed starting packs is the broccoli. And then I'll just double check the back of the package to make sure that's okay. Right. Broccoli. Yeah, their germination is a bit longer and their grow time is longer. So I'm going to go ahead and start these. And I think nothing else I need to start. Okay, let's start the broccoli. I'll give myself, let's give myself 8 because I know we're going to go through a lot of broccoli. So that's actually 10. Let's do 10. Because if some don't survive, that's okay. Or if I choose to not have some go into the garden. So this is actually a cool one. It says this historic and delicious variety dates back to the 1880s and was brought to America by Italian immigrants. So that's super cool, the 1880s. So let's get these in. So this says sow seeds indoors 1/4 inch deep, plant out just before the last frost, which now makes sense why I had this planned that these were going to go in the earliest. So let's get these in. And so I am seeing, obviously, like, yeah, these have more cells, and these are larger, and so it'll be interesting to see if I like that or not. Okay, and these broccoli seeds are just like kind of brown colored and round, and this is also another one where I was never really sure where the seeds come from. I'm gonna do about 4 in each. And the instructions on this say, plant out just before last frost. Broccoli prefers cool temperatures and a regular supply of water. In many regions, it can be grown both spring and fall. So that's why I am doing 2 crops of this. All right, so we have 10 broccoli plants. And hopefully we'll be able to enjoy this. We are like definitely, like, if I'm gonna make a vegetable, broccoli is my default vegetable that I would make. Okay, this has also taught me I need a way to organize these seed packets a little better. And I've seen a few ways, so I'm interested to try. And this set of seeds, this seed starting set came with little labels, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use those so I don't waste them. So let's just go ahead and label this. To be honest, I've always been horrible at spelling broccoli. 2 C's, broccoli. One day. Okay, I think that's all I'm gonna start for tonight. And then let me get my plan one more time. I think this weekend I'll try to get the potatoes in the ground. Possibly I'll just do that tomorrow, because they're fine being a little bit cold. And everything I said start potatoes early. Everything I saw said start potatoes early. And then next month, I'll get the carrots, kale, lettuce, herbs, peas, tomatoes, peppers, spinach, and watermelon started. Okay, I have a mess to clean up.